There are some motorcycle models that have the ability of conquering a league of fans. And this Suzuki is one of them. It has been a while since the last Bandit shown on this channel. Therefore, I think it is only fair to show two custom projects on today's episode. Although I'm not a big fan of motorcycles with 4-cylinder engines, I can see the charm of this one. And after more than 25 years, the original Bandit aged quite well. But I can't say the same about the rear section. And that is precisely what a good custom project can and should solve. Welcome to Racertv. If I had to describe this approach with one single word, it would be organic. It is not every day we can see a CafeRacer with such harmonious curved lines. And the Suzuki Bandit's frame seems to be begging precisely for that. Which means these lines were designed by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. In this case, I am referring to the very well-known Tanadit Sarawek, the man behind CafeRacerSeat in Thailand. One of his goals for this impressive project was to rejuvenate the original Bandit. And I believe he really nailed it. This is quite noticeable on this transition. It became fresh, lighter, and much more aggressive. I know some of you are not going to like the bikini fairing. But on this particular case, the fairing has an important role. Notice how the fuel tank's shape matches the interior lines of the fairing. Just like most of you, I also thought the fairing's size could be too big for this Suzuki. But when I saw it from different perspectives, I confirmed the size is good, although a bit bulky, due to its rounded shape. As you may have already noticed, the fuel tank was raised on this section. It is definitely an unorthodox choice. But as usual, there is a reason behind it. The main goal of this project was to rejuvenate the Suzuki Bandit. Therefore, as most of today's naked bikes, it has to have a striking and dynamic posture. And this is precisely why Tanadit tilted the fuel tank, which is perfectly aligned with the fairing. And it worked beautifully, because I checked it on Photoshop. As you see, with the fuel tank on the original position, the overall posture looks aged and less aggressive. But what would it look like without the fairing? Fortunately, Tanadit also built a naked version of this Bandit 600. Personally, I think it didn't work. It's not bad, but it seems the raised fuel tank loses its purpose, giving a feeling that something is missing in the front. And that is precisely why I think this version looks great. It is easy to see that all the lines were carefully chosen. The swing arm and rear wheel seem to have come from the 1200 version. But apparently, this structure was created just to make an aesthetic connection with the curved main frame. A truly exceptional build that deserves to be appreciated among all the Suzuki Bandit transformations. But for those who prefer something more naked, here's today's second project. Although it is simpler, it is still very interesting. In fact, for a simple and naked approach, it is very good indeed. Not too flashy, and not too discreet. It simply has the essential to be an aggressive and beautiful cafe racer. Interestingly, it was built in the same country as the project shown previously. This Suzuki is the work of Tony's bike design in Thailand. While this is nearly a 5-year-old project, it's admirable how it still looks pretty fresh compared to most custom projects based on this same model. One of the things I admire the most about it is the way it looks well balanced and proportionate. And this is even more noticeable when we see the before and the after. This custom subframe may not be as organic or elegant as the one from the previous project, but I think this curved tube creates the essential connection with the rest of the frame's structure. Although the gas tank appears to be grey, the reality is quite different. I have to point out, this Suzuki GSF Bandit is the 750 version. It is a very rare bike, and sold in Japan only. With the exception of the engine, and some other minor changes, most of it is quite near from the 600 version. Unfortunately, there is almost no information about this great project. But based on this photo, I assume this front suspension and wheels had already been altered before the project. So, is there any magic formula to transform the Bandit into a great cafe racer? No. Not really. But looking at the two beautiful projects shown today, you can easily see that this rear subframe needs to lose a good amount of weight. All the rest is a question of inspiration and good taste. And that's exactly what I hope you can extract from these beautiful transformations. Thank you for watching Racertv. And as always, I hope to see you on the next video.